Let's go to work, 'cause I'm tripping. Gotta work on myself, 'cause I'm falling apart. Please wake me up, 'cause I'm slipping. Can't fight this feeling off no more.
Paradise, or heaven, is hard to explain. Even for a jinn like myself, I lack the words to explain it to you. I will not try. You are free to imagine whatever wonders you like about the place. I can tell you that whatever mortal fantasies you have about paradise doesn't even come close to what the reality of it is. There are many beings in paradise, all of whom were created by the hands of Allah, or God, in whatever name or language that you call him. Some were made from water, others, like men, from clay. But I was made from a fire that has no smoke. We were superior. The most superior among us was the Iblis. He was magnificent. He was massive. Most of all, he was beautiful. He was made of the darkest parts of the fire. His flame was bright. His voice was deeper than the pits of hell, yet more soothing than waters from the well of Zamzam. I loved Iblis. I loved him then, and even though I now see him as a fool, I still love him. How could one not love the most beautiful creature God has ever made? Many religions speak of Iblis. Of course, he has different names. The Christians call him an angel of light, the most beautiful among all the angels. They named him Lucifer. This is a ridiculous name, but his beauty and magnificence are shared among all cultures. Iblis, as magnificent as he was, fell victim to the most mortal of fallacies. He was arrogant. I remember it as if I were just there. One of the curses of being a jinn. We remember all things, no matter how long ago it was. The horn was sounded, calling all of us to attend to our Creator. He had created something new. The Creator, in his love for all of us, wanted to share it with us. My heart raced in my chest as I ran to the great hall. This hall was massive. It could seat the whole of the universe in it and still have room. I saw Iblis as I hurried to see this wonder our Creator would reveal. "Iblis, the most beautiful of Allah's creations, why do you frown?" I asked him. Beautiful Iblis's frown deepened as he looked at me. My heart fluttered, for even his frown was more beautiful than the brightest star. "O beloved Andrid, Allah has created something better than us. But I am sure how anything can be better than us," Iblis said. I grabbed Iblis's beautiful fiery hand and kissed him. It was a kiss of pure love. There was no such thing as lust or sexuality in paradise. There was no need. Those desires were of mortal men. They were sinful. My kiss was that of a child kissing his newborn sibling or a parent kissing his infant child. "What can be created that is more beautiful than you, Iblis?" I said. Iblis smiled and placed his hand on my cheek. If I had a heart, his smile would have melted it. Maybe it was at this moment that I betrayed Allah. The moment that I doubted that Allah could make anything more beautiful than Iblis. That moment defined my life, it seemed. The first seed of doubt. The first shred of arrogance had entered my mind. "Stay by me during this, Andrid," Iblis asked. Who was I but a creature in love with his brother, and could not deny him? "Of course, beloved," I responded. Iblis squeezed my hand and ran off to see what new creation our Lord had made. All of the creatures of heaven entered the great hall. There were more of us than there were stars in the sky. We all segregated ourselves among our races, if you will. Us jinns of smokeless fire huddled together. There was no racial tension here. We all loved each other. There is always a comfort and a kinship in being near those created from the same fabric as you. Iblis was our leader. Those made of other things felt the same as we did. We all talked in excited, hushed tones. It had been a long time since Allah had created something new. The rumor was this creation was better than all others. I could see the stress and worry on the face of beautiful Iblis. I did not understand why he did not celebrate this amazing new creation of our Lord, this new addition to paradise. The excitement to get to know and interact with this new creation filled everyone's hearts except that of Iblis, the most beautiful creature created thus far. The great hall got silent as we felt our Lord. We could not see him. He was so bright. If you imagine the sun and multiply it to a number that you can't fathom, even that does not come close to how magnificent and bright our Creator is. We shielded our eyes and prostrated ourselves before him. We lay flat with our heads on the floor. We felt our Lord smile as he looked at us, pleased. His smile made us all weep. Even the beautiful Iblis wept. He lay prostrated, sobbing to our Lord. "Rise, my creations," our Lord said. His voice was everywhere and nowhere. It filled every inch of the universe and of us. We all rose and stared at a ball of light that floated in the center of the great hall. My heart raced. Within that light was the new creation. Was what was the most beautiful creation of all. The light slowly faded away, and before us was a creature whose skin was dark, dark like the clay you would find in the deepest parts of the earth. He was indeed beautiful. His hair was black as night and thick as sheep's wool. His eyes were white orbs with a circle of black in them. He was tall and majestic-looking. He was amazing. I caught my breath as I saw him. Iblis turned to me with what looked like rage in his eyes. I cannot be certain, because back then none of us had ever felt or seen this emotion. It burned brighter than the fire that was his body. He shook with rage and disgust. "This, Andrid, is what is supposed to be better than us? More beautiful than me?" Iblis hissed as he pointed to Allah's new creation. I cannot lie. I was afraid. No one had ever questioned our Lord before. No one has ever felt nor seen what I saw and felt with Iblis. "This is man. I name him Adam. He was created from the darkest clay in the deepest part of the earth. He will be the master of my gardens." The voice of God spoke again. "This black lump of clay is granted his own garden, his own kingdom among paradise." Iblis fumed. Other jinns started to look at him. Iblis's voice was slowly started to rise as his rage grew. I gift man with something I have never given any of my creations. I give him my breath." The voice of God rang again. The empty, beautiful, black-skinned shell that was Adam floated a bit higher. His mouth opened, and his chest started to expand. He seemed to glow with power and the love of our Lord. His cold, lifeless eyes brightened with life. Adam blinked. He took big, deep breaths. We all could hear him inhale and exhale. Adam looked upon the bright light that was God and smiled. "Thank you, O Lord," Adam said. His voice was deep and musical. I was in awe of this creation that got the breath of God in him. This creation that would be granted all the mercies that we were denied. This beautiful Adam that was favoured above all. Iblis clenched his fist as he watched Adam. If Iblis could, I had no doubt he would have killed Adam right there. "Adam possesses my breath. All of my other creations must bow before him." The voice of God boomed. All of the countless creations of Allah fell to their knees and bowed their heads to Adam. Adam stared blankly at us like the fool he was. I have always thought Adam a fool. How could you get the greatest gift from God and still disobey? A gift that any of us would give our lives for. We would gladly die just for the scent of our Lord's breath, but not the arrogant Adam. Forgive me. Let me get back to the story. All bowed before Adam, but Iblis. He stared at Adam, death in his gaze. He knew he was defying his Lord, his Creator, most of all, his Master. But his jealousy and rage would not let him care about that. Iblis grit his teeth. His chest heaved as he struggled to control himself. I was afraid as I bowed. Iblis standing right next to me. I reached my hand out to grab his and calm him, but he batted it away. "Why don't you bow, Iblis?" God asked his creation. I was shocked, for Allah had never individually called us out. I was not sure he knew all of our names. As I bowed, I became aware that God loved me so much that he was aware of every detail of me. He, the sculptor that loved each work of art he created. He knew every nook and cranny of me. If I had hair, he would know the exact number of hair on my body and the state of each of those hairs. The love of our Creator was endless. "Why, O Lord, should I bow to something that is inferior to me? I am smokeless fire and the most beautiful of your creations." Iblis paused. His voice was cracked with emotion as he shouted at Allah. His tears sizzled and hissed as they fell down his fiery cheeks. This thing you call a man is made of clay. Yet you give him your breath?" Iblis shouted. Iblis took a deep, shuddering breath. The whole of the great hall was afraid, for never had anyone talked to the Creator in that manner. No one had ever dared to question him, nor had the thought ever entered their minds. We were created to serve, and we were happy to serve. "Am I not the most beautiful of your creations, Lord? Am I not good enough?" Iblis sputtered in between sobs. The great hall was silent as all waited to see what the Creator would do. The silence seemed to last forever. "Bow, Iblis," the voice of God boomed again. Iblis forced himself to stop sobbing. It was clear that our Creator had forgiven Iblis for his outburst and emotion. All he had to do was bow to Adam, and all would be back to normal. "Bow, beloved," I pleaded with Iblis. Iblis looked down at me and smiled. "I cannot, dear Andrid," he replied. Even to this day, countless eons after this, I don't understand why Iblis chose this path. "O Lord and Creator of everything, I cannot obey you in this. I cannot bow to this thing made of clay," Iblis said defiantly. The hate for Adam burned in his eyes. Yet sorrow was there too. It hurt Iblis to disobey the Creator. Iblis, like all of us, loved the Creator with all we had. Iblis turned to the jinns of smokeless fire. "Stand, brothers, for we are better than this black clay thing our Lord created. Stand with me in defiance of this creation," Iblis said. He raised his hands in the air, motioning for us to stand. Iblis, the most beautiful and most magnificent of all the jinn. Many of the jinn of smokeless fire obeyed him and stood. I did not. How could I? I thought Adam was beautiful. He was an amazing creation, one that did indeed rival Iblis. Iblis turned and saw me still bowing. I could see his heart breaking as I did not stand. "Oh, beloved sweet Andrid, I thought you loved me," Iblis said. Emotions I have never felt before filled me. I don't know why, but slowly I stood. Maybe it was because I wanted to see the beautiful smile of Iblis's again, for him to cup my cheek like he often did. I did not want him to think that I did not love him. "I do, beloved," I replied. Suddenly, I felt cold. The fire that was our essence lost its brightness. We still burned with living flame, but we looked dark compared to the brightness of other jinns that bowed. The floor beneath us gave way, and we started to fall. We had been banished from heaven. Our Lord has turned his back on us. "Your creation that you call man shall never live in peace, Lord, this I promise you," Iblis shouted as he fell. Iblis has hated humans ever since. He has dedicated his entire existence to whispering to their desires and turning them away from the mercies that Allah has given them. I, in my love for the great and beautiful Iblis, found myself here, falling like thousands of other jinn of smokeless flame. We were the rebellious ones. We disobeyed our Creator. There is nothing more pathetic than one that turns his back on the one that created him.